Welcome to How to Run for Office and Get Away with It. Today we're providing the proof that local politics is definitely not as seen on TV, highlighting the shows that actually nail the local grind and calling out the myths that lead candidates astray. From the gritty realism of The Wire to the chaotic comedy of Parks and Recreation, we're separating the small screen fiction from the real world hustle. Let's get into it. Welcome to How to Run for Office and Get Away with It. I'm Scott,
And I'm B.
and today is
Not as seen on TV.
episode 16, in case you're following along in your book.
What book?
I don't know.
Should
Maybe
we have a
program?
book?
Maybe we should have a program.
Think a program?
Get your programs here.
No, it is the best time of year.
You can't tell one podcast from another without your program.
It is the best time of
It
year.
is baseball season.
I'm going to talk about that in a minute. First, I'm going to talk about what this episode is about. This episode is about the things that happen in your campaign versus what you see on TV. Because
Not always the same, is it?
it's not typically the same. So we're going to give a little reality check today. A little bit of like, okay, if you're thinking it's going to look like this or this is what you should do. No, this is
But
not.
sometimes it is exactly what you see.
It's usually what you think is absolutely not true
Couldn't possibly happen this way.
is absolutely true.
Yeah.
Because that's the reality. So we're going to talk about that a little bit.
I think we've got some great examples that people will probably be familiar with.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit. We're going to give some examples. And then, in the meantime, anybody listening who is running for office, just know that it's definitely not going to look like Designated Survivor. Like, it's just not. Like, whatever that was.
Yeah, I don't remember that one.
Oh my gosh. The headquarters.
Oh, that was the one where everybody got blown up and
In
like
the
some
at the State of the
junior
Union.
senator was
It's the State of the
was
Union. And no, he
instantly
was,
president or something.
no, he was a cabinet member.
Oh,
He was sat back. It was,
Kiefer Sutherland.
Sutherland.
Yeah,
And yeah, he had to like stay back, you know,
right.
and
He
is the designated survivor.
Yeah.
And then he was the one who survived. But then there's like a election campaign or whatever in that show.
Right.
And it looks like NASA. Like they have, it's like, y'all quit. Like you are lying. Like most of the work that is on a phone. It is not these big screens and like whatever. That's intense and crazy. That is not going to be that is nobody's experience anywhere.
No.
So,
So some of these shows that we're going to talk about are just way out in left field.
yeah.
Some of them hit very close to home.
And I'm going to rank them. I've taken the time to rank like 12 of them.
All right.
Thrown in the ones that are some of my favorites to talk about. Some of the ones where I have to keep pausing the TV and I'm like, that is stupid. That is stupid. That is not no. Like, yeah.
And we're also going to talk about the front porch campaign method
Oh my gosh. Now
and see how well that worked out for Benjamin Harrison.
listen, if you want to talk about stuff that you're like, no way, that's too absurd. There's just, or like, that's just kind of
Somebody
stuff that didn't happen in
somebody
real
laid
life.
this up. If we made this story into a TV show, you would not believe it.
What
And
a-
it's Derby week.
It's Derby week, which is,
Having grown up in Louisville and never attended the Derby,
you've never.
I
attended
I love to watch it on TV and enjoy all those festivities without 200,000 people crowding me around.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Now we should tell them a little bit about us. They should know a little bit about who sponsors us.
I think they should. Running for office can be overwhelming, especially when you don't know where to begin. Be Political helps people just like you run for political office with the confidence of having a seasoned campaign manager. With Be Political, you'll find the professional advice you've been looking for, along with the guidance and tools you can't find anywhere else. We'll help you stay organized and guide you in making important decisions about your campaign. From learning how to secure that big donor to choosing your campaign color scheme, Be Political is here for you. It's hard to know where to begin when you want to run. Start here. Be Political will show you the way. For all your campaign needs, go to beepoliticalllc.com. And now back to our show. Not as seen on TV.
Not as seen on TV. Ah, Billy Mays, how we miss you. So what we're talking about today is a little bit of what's real, what you can expect, what you see on TV, what you think is real, what definitely isn't, and what surprisingly is.
That's a lot.
I know. It's a kind of a long episode, but I think everybody's going to enjoy it.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
So let's talk about the war room versus the living room.
Okay.
So first I want to talk about what your team is going to actually look like.
Okay.
Okay. So starting from outside of the candidate, the top, you've got your campaign manager.
Right.
So you see the campaign manager on TV. What are we thinking here? What do we think the TV version of a campaign manager is?
That's somebody that flies in from somewhere else, part of a big firm, and is a fixer.
Right. They're from like DC or
Yeah.
Chicago or whatever. And they have like
They got the expensive suit and
they have like the penthouse suite at the hotel.
the slick back hair.
Yeah. Yeah, that is not at all what your campaign manager is.
No.
So here's the reality. Well, first of all, let's start with oftentimes it's someone like me who's your campaign manager, right?
Right.
And then let's be honest, for a lot of you who are running for the first time, especially for local office, you're coming to someone like Be Political or what have you. You're coming to for advice, but you have somebody that you're close to that's running your campaign. So the reality is you've got the spousager or the best friendager.
Right.
And that is your person, your partner, right? They're juggling their full-time job. They're still working a full-time job.
Right. You're not bringing in a full-time campaign manager. It's somebody who's
I mean,
doing
if you
this in
can
their
do
spare time.
that,
Well, sure.
for sure, that's the ideal situation. But
Now,
running
these
for
are-
office the first time on a shoestring budget, that's not probably going to happen.
Right.
But you're getting that advice from somewhere else, but you've got the person who's actually doing the work of managing it.
Right.
They've got a full-time job. They're they're making sure you saw your calendar that morning as they're packing lunches for the kids. They're your best friend that is, working at his or her place of business and they're doing the work on their lunch break. Or it's going to be somebody who is politically involved and knows what's going on locally that has some experience with this, who's a volunteer for you. Who's
Sure.
like,
Oh, that's great.
that's
That's a great
also
situation.
ideal. They may not be a professional political campaign consultant, but they are somebody who has worked enough campaigns or volunteered on enough things that they basically know what's going on with a little bit of guidance in what they need to do in aspects that they've not been involved in the past.
Right.
They're going to do a great job.
Right.
But
So
again,
don't expect some
this is a retiree probably.
some slick New Yorker to come in.
It is
and
not happening.
Start barking orders at all of your volunteers.
Right. This
That's not
is
gonna-
not, and they're not going to be like on the phone and like, I mean, they might be, but it's going to be with their kid's softball coach and not.
But they're also going to be out running errands and buying stamps and doing mailers and going to the post office
and running around finding the volunteer who has the last of the turf cutting
Right.
that was for door knocking. And did you put the notes on there
and being on the phone with the venues and
all of it.
working out all the details and doing the analytics.
And doing the delegating.
Yeah.
Maybe they're, that person's in charge of all that, but hopefully they've got a couple of people, like we've said in the past, you want to assign those tasks to people
Right.
independently. Hopefully they have they're delegating those people, but also hurting them. And also those people probably have jobs as well.
Right.
That's where retirees become such an integral part of running for local office.
Yeah.
Right. So next up, speaking of what we've talked about, the anatomy of your campaign, the comms team, your communications and social media people. So
Well,
what?
we all know exactly what that looks like.
Right.
It's a bunch of 20-somethings sitting around the campaign headquarters on the phone, on 6 computers, on every device they can, just furiously tapping away at social media, right?
No.
It is. I've seen it.
I seen it.
I've seen it on TV.
Yeah. No. So it's not that at all. When it comes to your comms and social media, it's probably going to be a younger family member who is digitally tech savvy, all of that
Right.
sort of stuff that feels like it's ingrained in children who are teenagers and above, like teenagers and 20 somethings, right?
Right.
So that part is actually accurate,
Still that age group.
but it's probably your niece or nephew or some high school kid or college student who is looking for an intern credit or is looking to be involved. You definitely want them to be trustworthy, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. But you're probably not going to get 20 of them sitting around.
No. And there is no numbers going up and down.
Right.
There is.
Oh, they're watching all of the poll results, just constantly swinging back and forth.
Again, it's not happening.
Right.
What they are doing is it's looking at the analytics in Facebook.
Right.
And you're checking that, like,
you're checking engagement of the social media that
engagement
should be analyzed.
but it's not happening in real time. You're checking that like once a week or once a day just to see what the post that you posted yesterday, what the engagement on it was.
Right.
You're
It's sitting around your dining room table.
or it's
because
at
you
your
don't
dining room
have-
table because you don't have an office, right? It's the rec room in your basement, right?
Right.
It's the kitchen table that's been co-opted for campaign headquarters, and it's, a college student sitting there while looking at some of that and going over it with you, making sure that. So that's the reality. Don't be looking for this room full of 20-somethings that are looking at your social engagement and making these recommendations on how to go viral and all of that stuff. As for the press office that you see on TV with these things, and there's no press office. It's one person's cell phone and their email. It's writing press releases, taking pictures, and sending them to the local press, hoping they will pay attention. It is not reporters chasing you down. It's not them showing up in gaggles every day.
They're not clamoring at your door to interview you.
If they are, something has gone terribly wrong.
Run away.
Run away. They know something that they should not know, and it is time to exit stage right. There's no press room. There's no press gaggle. That doesn't exist. If you're in a presidential race, yes. But
Yeah.
after that,
Some very high profile races, you'll have reporters who are always looking for quotes.
and even then, like, you have to send them, like, even if you're running for U.S. Senate or Congress, like, you are notifying the press over and over and over and over.
was hoping that something
where you're going to be and what you're doing. It's press and announcements that you send out before an event, or you have press statements to hand to the press if they actually show up.
Again, if you've got reporters chasing after you, run away.
Something's gone wrong.
All right, how about your ground game? What about your volunteers and the people that are working for you?
Okay. So what's that look like? What's that look like on TV?
I see a county fair with a big booth and a dozen people wearing my campaign T-shirts, going around shaking hands and handing out cards, while I sit in the back of the booth with an ice cold lemonade.
And then there's like that fleet of people that get released onto streets to go door knocking.
Oh,
yeah. So no. I'm sorry, guys. I hate to burst that bubble, but no. it's probably going to be your early birds, your first sign up volunteers,
Right.
right? You've got them. They're your dedicated people, your friends. They have dedicated themselves to making their Saturdays about getting together, having a cup of coffee, and then going to knock on the next neighborhood. Like if you've got that going for you to start,
Give
man,
yourself a pat on the back because
'cause
that you're doing great.
you're further ahead. It is you and your kids going door knocking after soccer
Every Saturday.
every Saturday, or it's going door knocking after afternoon snack
Yeah.
as your kids come home from school. It is it's you out there. It is a couple of dedicated volunteers.
But it's always going to be the candidate out there leading the way.
It is, and it's always going to be just a handful of people. It's not going to be. And by the way, the t-shirts,
Don't start with the T-shirts again.
this is the appropriate way to use t-shirts.
Yeah.
This is what you should be doing. You should be, God bless your soul, asking your volunteers, could you help the campaign out by buying this t-shirt? People think it's tacky. It's not. They've already bought into your campaign. They're already volunteering their time.
But it's still not. It's
Outrageous.
not an expense that you want your campaign to absorb if it doesn't have to.
But
Can we get down off the T-shirt soapbox?
I just want to explain there's a time and a place. You don't order 200 of them because you're going to have
On TV,
everybody has the t-shirts, right? You don't do that. Okay? You want like 20 at most, and you want to hoard them for people who will wear them over and over and over and over again, and not, hey, I want a free t-shirt, and then they wear it in that moment, and then they go home and use it to paint their fence. No.
No.
Okay. I'm done.
Be judicious with the T-shirts.
Be judicious. Remember that the goal is not shaking 1,000 hands at a rally or what it's about having 10 quality 5-minute conversations on doorsteps.
It's about that one-on-one personal interaction.
It's nice to have an army. It looks good to have an army. But the real work is done by just taking the 5 minutes to talk individually to people.
And there's something about having a candidate on your doorstep at your home that makes it even that much more personal.
And being willing to talk to you.
Sure.
Now, we're not saying that you need to personally go to every door. That's not what we're saying. But we are saying that this is not an army of people who are doing the work for you, which it oftentimes looks like on TV.
Right.
This is you out in front doing the majority of the work and asking people to help you with it. So, and then, like your numbers team, you don't have like 50 people looking up stats and running numbers and telling you the poll numbers. And that's just not,
No.
that doesn't happen. If you get polling numbers, you've hired somebody outside an agency of some sort and they make phone calls. It's like a
Right. You don't do your own
text
polling.
or and then you get a report sent back to you as to what that polling said. There's no one giving you minute by minute polling data. It's just not happening.
Right.
And then obviously moving on, there's the us, the expert that you hired,
The consultant.
the consultant. And what do we always look like on there?
1930s business casual.
We always look like some dramatic speech. We've saved the day.
Oh yeah, and we've got all kinds of secret tricks up our sleeves.
Oh, we're saviors who know everything.
Right.
And have inexplicably have dirt on the opponent.
Always got dirt on the candidate.
But the reality is, like, what people like us do, what we do, is we provide professional input.
Sure.
So, like, Be Political, we provide like the training, right? The structure. We walk you through how to set things up, like how to look at the information that you have and make sense of it.
We teach you how to fish.
We teach you how to fish rather than fishing for you.
Right.
And help you with practical stuff like here's how you make sure your volunteers don't burn out. And here, hey, volunteers, we're going to talk to you and teach you what you need to do so that you don't burn out.
Right.
Here's some tips and tricks on how to make this work best for you and in your environment. Like, that's what you're getting. You're not getting somebody who swoops in and just saves the day with some crazy plan it's just not.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
And we can come in and tell truth to power.
That's the bigger thing. See, and I will say this, and we're going to talk about the different TV shows where they get it right and wrong.
Right.
I will say this. One of my favorite characters, I can't remember that actress's name, and I'll look it up here, but she also plays Agatha. She plays the campaign manager in Parks and Rec. And
Catherine Hahn.
Catherine Hahn. Brilliant comedian. She is so funny in that. Every time I see her in something, I enjoy her, but she's very versatile. But in that show, she's that high-powered consultant that swoops in. But if you pay attention to her, she's a lot more authentic. That is actually a lot more authentic. Yeah, she did swoop in, but there was a reason, and it made sense. And what does she do? She doesn't come there and like camp out and stay. She pops in for something because she's in the area.
Mm-hmm.
She gives some advice. She talks to him for a little bit. She stays for a day or two, and then she leaves.
Right.
And then they occasionally call her, or she shows up because she's consulting again or whatever.
That's the difference between a consultant and a campaign manager.
Right. And she gives the advice, and then she's just real friendly about, hey, like, oh, no, you're not going to do that. That's stupid. Don't do that. Right. It's like, no, that's not what we're doing. The blunt honesty, which tends to go along with the profession.
Sure. Well, you have to.
We're not known for our filter.
Right.
So, it's going to be someone who says, look, this billboard that you're obsessed with, you don't need the billboard. You need to be making 20 more fundraising calls.
Right.
In a week.
Right.
Right. So that's what they are. A lot of times they're on the phone. They're not in person. A lot of times we're giving advice. It's all over meet.
Right.
Right. Or whatever. Or video chat, whatever you want to call it. It's like there's no dramatic speech and here's what we're going to do. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
So anyway, moving on.
All right. So let's talk about the big events out in public.
The glamour gap.
We're talking about making public speeches and rallies and debates and things of that nature. Let's talk about debates first.
Okay. So what do you think it looks like on TV?
So there's a beautiful stage with dramatic lighting and fancy podiums and candidates standing there in suits and a huge audience hanging on every word.
Right. So we're going to start with the venue on that, right?
Okay.
The venue is probably like a middle school auditorium or the shared auditorium, the lunchatorium.
The lunchatorium, yeah.
Or what have you. Or a community center, something like that. You've probably got a podium that's a repurposed music stand.
Right, very likely.
A table with a cloth over it, and you're sitting at it. I've seen just the long folded tables.
Right.
Where
like
everybody's
a conference table looking thing, yeah.
Everybody's seated at that, and it's in like the basement of like a bank with a public room.
Right.
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 Seen that too. Like it's not. Most communities don't have access to a large auditorium for municipal purposes outside of
right
like their public school system.
Yeah, there's not a lot of that. I mean, there is in some areas, and if you're lucky enough to get that, then great.
Right.
Don't expect that to be the case.
A lot of times it's at the library, right? You might have space in your library for that. So again, that this is the space that you're working in. Your audience,
right?
It's
hundreds of potential voters, all very engaged and asking relevant questions.
Right. So depending on how many of you are in the debate, like if it's like you're running for city council and you've got 8 people up there.
Right.
You're looking at maybe 50 people for that,
Sure.
for 8 candidates. If it's 2 of you, maybe 30, and like 6, if it's 2 of you for something, for a mayor race, it's even less than that probably. And if it is 30, it's because it's spouses and it's, family members, and then like a couple of your volunteers who are there to be moral support. But it's not your whole community has shown up.
Sure.
A lot of times those debates end up being for very specific people in the community, and very specifically for your local news, because that's one of the few places where you can provide the merits of your positions and discuss positions that you have where you're guaranteed to have news coverage.
Right. Yeah. News outlets are more likely to cover a debate than an individual event.
Right. So that's what you're looking at. That's who the audience is. So your goal here is to get that engagement, to be able to get your message in that public forum out there in your words, where you have the opportunity to defend and put them up against your opponent. But it's also to remember, you're not trying to win the room. You're trying to make sure you don't actually say something and becomes like a 30-second clip on the opponent's
Right.
social media.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But at the end of the day, you're trying to make your case as clearly and as proficiently as possible. And if you could be a little personable while you do that,
Yeah.
that would be great.
And not say something stupid.
And not say something stupid. And that's the basics of it. We're going to have an episode on debate techniques, public speaking. I promise, all of it's coming. We're only on episode 16.
We're going to keep talking about this.
We're going to keep talking about this stuff. So if you're thinking, go back and talk about that, you know what? We will. But hit us up on social media so we know that
Tell us
want
what
us
you
to
want
go
to
back
hear.
to talk.
Yeah. All right. What about my huge rally that I'm going to have with a balloon drop and 1,000 people chanting my name and holding up signs and cheering for me?
You need to understand, if you're having a rally, you're not having a rally. You're at a rally where you get to participate. You're at a joint rally where you're with people who are part of some form of a slate, usually for your party. You're going to be hoping that you get, and you're going to push for like a 3-minute talking or a speaking slot
Right.
at a dinner or at whatever, fairgrounds. A lot of times your county party will have an annual rally at the fairgrounds, whatever. You want to be able to speak at that.
Sure.
Those sorts of things. You're going to be angling for speaking positions. Every single thing that you go to, you're going to be angling to be one of the people who speak, and you're probably going to be sharing that stage, but it's not going to be you. It's not going to be just you.
Right.
If it is just you, your campaign is hosting that event, and that takes a lot of time and effort. So it's a massive event
And money.
So it better be a fundraiser, of some sort.
Yeah. You're not going to a rally just so people can cheer you. You're hosting an event so that people can contribute to your campaign.
Right. Even as we discussed your
kickoff.
Yes, that's what you're doing. Your kickoff, right? That would be a rally, but that's still a fundraiser.
It's still a fundraiser,
right?
It's always a fundraiser.
It's always a fundraiser. A rally, a massive rally for you as a kickoff, absolutely. But you're raising money too.
Sure.
So this is not happening. You're not having these big, massive rallies at stadiums if you're running for county clerk. It's just not going to happen.
No, you're having a booth somewhere outside, in conjunction with other candidates, and you're going to get a little bit of time to speak.
So, it's also not that cheering crowd that's in the stadium that's like removed. It's the suffocating group of people who are around you.
There's like a handful of people who just are pressing against each other to try to get time with you.
And they're the people that you see everywhere you go that always have to say hi to you, that always have to stop where you are, and you're like, and and you just really want to try to hurry up and finish what you're eating so that nobody sees you because you were hiding around the side. And it's like, how did you find me here? And I need a napkin. I don't want to talk about this right now. It's that.
But you have to.
Right.
But you have to. Sticky fingers and all.
Yeah. And speaking of this time of year, that's a very common time for like dignified appearance sort of things because grand openings and ribbon cuttings, that sort of
okay.
things,
Yeah.
community stuff. So you're thinking about that. What are you thinking on that one? What do you think that looks like?
Oh, a big crowd and a huge pair of scissors in front of it. A new shop of some kind.
Right. And there's a motorcade maybe and all of that stuff. It's not that. And that's not
You're
what's
not
happening.
traveling in a motorcade.
There's not a huge group of people that have come to see the city. This is not happening.
Right.
So what's actually happening is you've got a crowded sidewalk. It's a ribbon cutting. You've got a new small business. You've got 15 people who are there for that.
Right.
9 of them work there. 3 are volunteers that are working for you.
Right. And a couple of people just wandered in.
And they're right. They're like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
There's always those people who are like, what's going on? I want to know about their life. These are the people that lose a shoe.
They're a bunch of looky-loos.
These are the people who lose one shoe on the highway. What is happening with their life that they're just wandering around and they're like, what's going on here? And just wander into these.
Hey, maybe they're tourists.
But they do. These people do this.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you might have a reporter from your local paper who's covering that opening. They're going to be focused on that opening. And they're going to be standing there and they're going to be taking their own pictures while also reporting on it.
And you just happen to be there.
And you want to make sure that you have a press release on hand to hand to them so that it's already written for them and get their email address so that you can directly email an electronic copy of the press release so that they can copy and paste everything that they need. And also they have a picture that you've added to it with a caption so that they have that available to them too.
Okay.
You're doing a lot of their work for them.
Sure.
And that is a lot of times the only way that you're getting your stuff in is you're doing a lot of their work for them.
If you want something done, you got to do it yourself.
Right.
Let's talk about who got it right. We've alluded to several TV shows. Let's talk about some shows and who got it right and who got it wrong.
Okay. So I am not saying this because I am a Marylander, but who got it right? The Wire. They got it right. So do you remember the scenes? I know it's been a while since you watched The Wire and
When Lord Baelish ran for mayor?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So The Wire, it's important to note that The Wire, that candidate, Tommy Carcetti, is based on real life Martin O'Malley.
The real life mayor of Baltimore.
Well, not currently.
The real life former mayor of Baltimore.
Right. So full disclosure, growing up, I spent a lot of time in rooms with Marty O'Malley. I have met him on several occasions. And he was somebody who worked with my father on a few initiatives over multiple things. So he was both.
Right.
He was mayor of Baltimore. He was governor of Maryland, and then he went on to be presidential candidate during the craziness of 2016. I think they were a little too harsh on him in the Wire because of the cynicism of the show itself. But anyway, they get it right.
So what did The Wire get right?
So several things. A lot of the data stuff that they talked about, that is how you run an election. Right. But starting off, we're just going to talk about the door-to-door because they show him going door-to-door.
The candidate for mayor.
There's a scene where Tommy Carcetti is walking door-to-door in the rain and people are just closing their door in his face or they're complaining about trash. And it really does capture the unglorious physical labor of having to care more about a voter's broken porch than your own grand vision.
Even in a high-profile race like mayor of Baltimore.
He's still walking in the rain,
still walking in the rain and still doing that door-to-door, that personal connection.
Right. And that is part of the gig.
Right.
It doesn't matter where unless you're running for president, you better be out there knocking on doors.
Sure.
So that is accurate.
You get votes one at a time.
Exactly. So then the other one that I think gets it right, and I talked about this earlier. Well, I talked about this show earlier, but Parks and Rec.
Right. I think that gets a lot of things right.
The candidate forum
Right.
episode. I mean, it's near perfect in the portrayal of it, and the way that the questions from the audience are hyper local and almost, if not completely nonsensical.
The ideas are what shine in our meetings.
What are you, some kind of moron? Why don't you have hand dryers in the park bathrooms? They're so much more sanitary than paper towels. Anyone knows that.
My dog went to one of your parks and ate another dog's feces, and I'm going to sue you for
It's just
that.
Leslie having to stay on brand and professional, and the environment is completely chaotic and unprofessional.
Okay, so give me an example of where somebody got the vibe completely wrong. The vibe on the campaign trail. Where did somebody go wrong with that?
So this isn't so much the campaign trail, although it does have to do with like the midterms were happening, but in the West Wing, second season,
Don't tell me the West Wing was ever wrong about anything.
it was wrong about,
It was such a beautiful show.
and it was fan fiction for political science.
It really was.
You know what? It's why many people who are my age really got into political science and wanted to work in government.
Right.
Because it really painted this
Well,
idyllic
you had
picture.
West Wing watch parties in college. Now.
Oh yeah, the Student Government Association. Shout out to Mike and Sean. We all used to get together and watch West Wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, in college.
Great show, but this time they got it wrong.
Yeah.
This is an example.
Well, yeah. So now more than ever, things are a lot different than West Wing operated, but it used to be a little closer to that. It was just very idealistic. But in this particular episode, and it's probably one of the most famous episodes, and it's such a satisfying moment that I'm about to talk about. And you probably know it. It's the one where the midterms have been going on. The midterms have been happening. But anyway, he walks in to a radio correspondence gathering or something. And there is this woman, her name's like Dr. Jenna Jacobs or something. She's basically, I think, Dr. Laura or whatever. And she doesn't stand up, and she's rude, and she's not a fan of the president and all of that. And he just puts her in her place.
Forgive me, Dr. Jacobs. Are you an MD?
A PhD.
A PhD?
Yes, sir.
In psychology?
No, sir.
Theology?
No.
Social work?
I have a PhD in English literature.
I'm asking because on your show people call in for advice and you go by the name Dr. Jacobs on your show, and I didn't know if maybe your listeners were confused by that and assumed you had advanced training in psychology, theology, or healthcare.
I don't believe they are confused, no, sir.
Good. I like your show. I like how you call homosexuality an abomination.
I don't say homosexuality is an abomination, Mr. President. The Bible does.
Yes, it does. Leviticus.
18:22.
Chapter and verse. I wanted to ask you a couple of questions while I had you here. I'm interested in selling my youngest daughter into slavery as sanctioned in Exodus 21:7. She's a Georgetown sophomore, speaks fluent Italian, always cleared the table when it was her turn. What would a good price for her be? While thinking about that, can I ask another? My chief of staff, Leo McGarry, insists on working on the Sabbath. Exodus 35:2 clearly says he should be put to death. Am I morally obligated to kill him myself, or is it okay to call the police? Here's one that's really important, because we've got a lot of sports fans in this town. Touching the skin of a dead pig makes one unclean, Leviticus 11:7. If they promise to wear gloves, can the Washington Redskins still play football? Can Notre Dame? Can West Point? Does the whole town really have to be together to stone my brother John for planting different crops side by side? Can I burn my mother in a small family gathering for wearing garments made from two different threads? Think about those questions, would you? One last thing. While you may be mistaking this for your monthly meeting of the ignorant tight-ass club, in this building when the president stands, nobody sits.
You know, just puts her in her place using scripture, as anyone who is a fan of the show will tell you. The president wanted to be a priest before he met his wife and had gone to...
Jet Bartlett is well versed in the scripture.
Right. So anyway, it's such a satisfying scene, and everybody wants to have that moment.
He really puts her in her place because she's a real B word.
Well, and where it's alluded to that, plus the fact that she doesn't stand and anyway. But the point is that, as satisfying as that is, as much as you want to have that moment and you think everybody's going to cheer you on, as much as you want to believe that that's what would happen. And that's what happens in the dramatic telling of stories. Right. But in the reality, if you did that in a local campaign, if a candidate schooled a constituent or a local leader like that, it wouldn't end the argument. That wouldn't be the end of it. No. It would be recorded on a cell phone. It would be edited to make the candidate make you look bad. You would be branded an arrogant elitist, out of touch with people. And it would be used in an attack ad by the end of the week after it had already been shared all over social media as often as possible by the opposition party.
Right.
Anyway.
All right. Let's see. How about the relationship between opposing candidates?
Oh, the nemesis myth. So in TV shows, because of the drama, because of the story, because they need to amp things up,
they're always seem like being broken up from a fist fight because they keep running into each other.
They're constantly bumping into each other, and they're trading these like theatrical remarks of just like who's got the best one, who left the other one, who got the last word. Right. So that's really not happening. You're more like two ships in the night. You're not going to see your opponent very often at all. You're both going to be busy knocking on doors. They're different doors for the most part.
Oh, yeah.
They're different doors. You're not crossing paths really unless it's a public event. And even with public events, it's community events, sure, but the organizations that you're visiting are not necessarily even going to be the same.
Right, exactly.
So you're not really seeing each other. You're likely going to interact with that person in social media more than you ever would in person.
Right.
And even still, while people are getting more vicious on social media and more, they have a false sense of anonymity while they're on there. For the most part, even as a candidate, it's best to shy away from engaging with your opponent on social media in any kind of conflict way. Nobody comes out looking good.
Nobody does.
Everybody looks petty and sad, in my opinion. I don't recommend it. And a lot of times you're running against people that you know. Even if you know that person well, you're so busy with the campaign things that you have to do.
There's not a lot of social time.
There's not a lot of social time outside of what you're doing with campaigning, and you're just not seeing that person.
If you're doing it right, you don't have time to socialize like that.
Exactly. So you are not out there just bumping into them all over the place.
Right.
It's not happening, even if you know them. I have known candidates who actually went out of their way, both candidates in opposition, to talk to each other every day because they had been friends before they were in opposition. And they talked to each other frequently. And the one who won, they disagreed fundamentally on philosophies of governing. But even after one of them won, regularly called this other person and asked what they would do and what their advice was. I mean, honestly,
that's a gentleman's race. We talked about that before.
Right.
That's fantastic.
They talked frequently, but that was a personal conviction that they had. That was a decision that was made on both their parts. And of course, you still want to be cautious. You're not giving away the secrets to your campaign or telling them what you got coming up or anything
of course
you're doing. But, just talking.
All right.
Never hurts. So,
I'm just imagining a Lifetime movie where a female candidate and a male candidate are taking a smoke break behind the bleachers of an auditorium, and they start talking in big rom-com. But she's from the big city and he's from the small town, and it's just never going to work out between them.
If you keep talking, Hallmark is calling immediately. I'm sorry, guys. We're going to have to take a pause from the podcast. We're in production with Hallmark. We'll be back in 6 days. That's funny if you know that those movies are made in like 6 days.
Yeah, and we have about 10 of them to make.
Yes, out of that one concept.
Out of that one concept.
That's amazing. So, yeah.
You're another one. She's from the small town, and he's from the big city.
Yeah. Oh, you're reversing it up.
Yeah. And in another one, she used to live in the small town, and then she moved to the big city, and now she's moving back to the small town.
And running for office.
Against a guy who used to bully her.
Oh, no.
Because she was nerdy in high school, and then she went to the city and got hot and came back.
She got hot?
She got hot.
Oh.
She came back to the small town. Yeah.
I need to know who's the Republican and who's the Democrat in this. Have you decided yet?
It doesn't matter.
That's a lot.
This is Connecticut, so they're probably both Democrats.
That's a lot. Wow. I love it.
Yeah.
Make it immediately.
Yeah.
Here's my money.
And it snows on election day.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Of course it does, because you know what happens next?
Their car breaks down on the way to the polling place.
And neither one of them get to vote for themselves.
They don't get to, but they were going to vote for
each other.
Yeah.
They were.
Yeah.
They absolutely were.
This is great.
Yes. This is special stuff.
This is the best idea I've had in a long time.
And then putting that into like the debate dynamic of that, because we were talking about debates earlier.
Oh, yeah.
The
debates are historically just vicious events on TV.
Oh, yeah. There's just pure hostility.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just no eye contact. You're going into war. And in actuality, you're backstage. You're often standing in the same hallway, or you got tucked into the same classroom before the debate because you're having it at the auditorium.
Right.
There's no like trading barbs. Like, again, I go back to West Wing, that moment at the opera where they're sitting down and having this debate on whatever, and he ends it with crime. Boy, I don't know. That's when I decided to kick your ass. Like, that's just not happening.
Crime, boy, I don't know.
I mean, James Brolin is brilliant anyway, but he was great in that role. Crime, boy, I don't know. You know? So it's not this big dramatic go in, are we getting Uncle Fluffy?
Right.
Or
who's Uncle Fluffy?
Oh, that was in the debate episode of West Wing. I'm not going to lie. I do love that show, and I've watched it on Revolution, and I highly recommend you watch the show.
From start to finish.
Because, one, it's excellent writing, especially the dialogue, but also because you'll feel inspired by it. Everybody gets inspired by the West Wing. I dare you not to be.
All right.
So some examples, right? As I'm shouting out about West Wing.
Right.
Parks and Rec, again.
Parks and Rec.
They don't get everything right, but in this one, yeah.
But it's always funny.
Oh, my gosh. Well, in this one, think about Leslie versus Bobby Newport.
Right.
Okay, and so we talking about it. Paul Rudd is hysterical in this role. I love him in this show.
He's the nicest person. It's just him.
It's the nicest.
It's Paul Rudd if he was running for office.
But he's a dummy. Like, he's kind of a dummy. Like, he has no idea what's going on. Like, at one point, he's wee bowling in his bowling alley. Like, he has a bowling alley, and he's wee bowling in it.
Right.
Like, dude. But Bobby Newport, he's not a villain, right? He's like, hey, Leslie, isn't this cool? Like, he's just like,
right.
He's like a big dumb Labrador.
You can't not like him.
He's nice. He's a little dim. He just has more money than Leslie. And he's getting it from his dad. And his dad wants him to run. And he's like, man, this is cool, right? Man, you're really great, Leslie. Like,
right.
Man, I'm going to vote for you, which is a real line that he says in there, by the way. But, you know, that interaction that they have when they meet, Bobby's very friendly and he's asking Leslie's advice, and it really captures the local reality where your opponent isn't necessarily evil. They're just, you may be looking at them, they're not as qualified as you, but somehow they're
still in the race.
They're still ahead.
Yeah.
And it's not fair because they're not as qualified and they don't have the credentials and they're not even talking about any of the things that actually relate to.
These are all things that can happen.
These are things that usually happen.
Yeah.
And it's infuriating, but they're not doing it because it's like they're not being malicious to you directly. It's not personal. That's just their avenue to winning.
Right.
So it can highlight the frustration of running against someone who the community just likes when
Sure.
it becomes a popularity contest, which it can very often do.
Right.
Right.
And when it becomes about who can spend the most.
Right. Because a lot of times it does come down to that. And people running in local office don't have access to big money donors a lot of times, or they've not made those connections yet.
Unless they have their own bowling alley.
Unless they are coming from they're the family that owns the anchor business of your town.
Right.
Right. So they've got a little bit of unlimited funds in that regard.
All right.
So yeah, I think
right.
they get a lot right on that one. What are we talking about next?
Well, we talked about rallies. Let's talk about fundraisers.
Ah, yeah. Caviar dreams and casserole realities.
That's right.
Oh, you'd be lucky to get a casserole sometimes, if I'm being honest. You would love a casserole.
I mean, I love casserole.
I know. I love casserole too. You're lucky to get casserole on the campaign trail.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's fair food and rubber chickens.
Right. It's not $1,000 a plate dinners and.
No, there are no rooftop garden parties in Manhattan with black tie galas and marble ballrooms. You're not
passing around champagne and have Sade singing in the corner.
And there's not $10,000 checks
Right.
that are going straight into Canada. No, it's just not happening. The reality for you out there running, you're running the living room circuit, y'all. You are being invited into people's living rooms where they've managed to help you get 12 people to sit down on mismatched folding chairs in their kitchen and living room and throughout their downstairs or in their backyard or on their deck or what have you, where you can talk one-on-one with the people that are there,
Right.
discuss with them, what your platform is and how they can help you and what the winning strategy is and hopefully make a contribution to your campaign. You've also got the VFWs and things like that. So your venue for dinners and fundraisers, you're talking about wood-paneled halls with fluorescent lights and, like I said, rubber chicken dinners.
They're
that's
not
for sure.
200,000 square foot
No.
ballrooms attached to the White House. So.
It's a lot of $25 donations
Sure.
from your friends and neighbors. Don't discount that, but remind them that, these things take time. And a lot of times it's educating the people who are supporting you on what that money is going to. So,
Right. As we talked about in our fundraising episode.
yeah. Speaking of fundraising, I love TV fundraising.
Oh, TV fundraising is awesome.
The candidate gives some 3-minute speech, and then the whales that are in the back of the room
They
immediately
just start writing checks.
fund the entire digital ad buy.
They
It's
throw
like,
throw cash at them.
we got the money that we needed. That speech did exactly what. No.
Not happening.
You're passing a hat. You spend 4 hours at a spaghetti dinner and raise $400.
Right.
Right? So let's talk about who gets it right and who gets it wrong.
So who got it right in fundraising?
Okay, it's Veep.
Veep gets a lot of things right.
Right. Here's what they get right. And it's how much candidates hate fundraising.
Right.
If you are out there thinking, I am a political candidate and I hate doing this, I'm so bad at this, I should not be running for office. It's like you and 99 out of 100 political candidates.
Sure.
Like you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Fundraising is scary and intimidating and exhausting for most people. And the number of times that I have been pulled into another room with a candidate or whatever, into a closet or a kitchen where nobody's at to just like catch breath
Right.
and honestly bitch and moan about some of the people that are
let the candidate rant a bit.
just take a minute
Sure.
and then take a breath and go back out there. And you see a lot of that on Veep.
Right. What part of campaigning do they never show on TV?
the stuff they never show, the actual like drudgery, the labor, the like menial stuff, there's a lot of it. So for one thing, call time purgatory, as I've heard it referred to many times by
Right.
candidates, it's the purgatory. You're spending sometimes 4 hours a day, 6 hours a day in making calls to donors. Some of them are cold calls. They're off lists from former donors to other candidates, and you're doing that, and it's repetitive and it's draining, and it involves being hung up on, or involves leaving messages on answering machines, or and it's lots of notes. So, but we're not seeing that. We're not seeing the drudgery of call time. You're not seeing the notes. You're not seeing people writing handwritten notes to
It's
people.
super important, but does not make good TV.
And it's the actual work of it. You
Right.
don't see, the college intern eating leftover pizza that they took from some campus event that they were able to get the free food back to their dorm room, and they're sitting on the floor watching, reruns of Buffy the Vampire Slayer because they're feeling nostalgic for their mom, and are like doing spreadsheets while looking up contribution histories to Democratic candidates in your area. Like,
A lot of campaigning is very unglamorous.
it's just a lot of boring data mining and that sort of thing. And you
Right.
never see that.
And then there's the paperwork nightmare.
Compliance.
Yeah.
Compliance. So,
And I can tell you from vast experience that there is a ton of record keeping and filing that needs to be done. Especially as you get close to election day, there's a lot of filing to be done.
yeah, they don't show the compliance nightmares that are just ongoing, making sure in every capacity, everything that you're doing is
All of the
right.
data mining, the voter lists, and scrubbing your voter list that you have to see who you need to knock on.
Oh, yeah, that too. So you've got your voter files. You got to go through and making sure that you're the list of names or who you need on there, and that you're not going to knock on doors that you shouldn't, right?
Okay.
That you're not wasting that time. You put in a lot of time doing this boring stuff so that you save time in the long run, save time, money, resources.
Well, let's talk more about what Hollywood gets wrong.
The fairy tale stuff,
The fairy tale stuff.
Like
this is the kind of stuff that,
like the situations,
yeah, things that like never happen in reality.
like the policy epiphany, the eureka.
Oh, yes.
So that's one of my favorite is the eureka moments, the policy epiphany thing, the policy like aha moment.
Sure.
So that's where like, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like where the candidate has like a eureka, like, aha, that's what it needs to be moment with a specific policy. And they do this in like mystery shows and like medical dramas where somebody will be talking about something else entirely that's unrelated, and then all of a sudden that jars something.
Sure. You
and
stare off in the distance.
and then it's like, that's it. And then they run out, and it's like
House did that a lot.
House did that all the time, like every episode. They do that in these sorts of shows too. And then all of a sudden, like there's like this new way to fund schools that no one has thought of before. And then when they bring it up, I don't totally trash it for it being
Right.
here's the 10 things starting off the bat why that's not going to work, and the funding problems that they're about to run into, and who's going to be against it, and the lobby that is going to destroy them. But
And
anyway,
it's not really going to help their campaign because voters are not paying that much attention to specific issues.
policies.
And if they are, there's not a simple solution to them for people to come up with.
And you're certainly not going to like jump 10 points. And half the time they talk about the quote unquote points, and I don't think the writers know what the points are.
Right.
I think they're just saying it, and that makes me laugh.
Like there's constant polling going on.
Yeah, and that is not
It
happening at
doesn't
all.
happen.
So most voters, they're not, like you said, they're not paying attention to specific policy nuances or anything like that.
There's no wonder kid that comes into your
Yeah.
campaign and finds a glitch in the system
That
that they can
fix everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So, yeah, those guys don't exist. Do not go to your local university or community college looking for a volunteer who will somehow show up with their youth and be like the Goodwill Hunting of politics.
No.
This is
Definitely
silly
utilize them.
delusion.
Definitely utilize them to help your campaign and do some of this research.
So then this is another good one. The spontaneous endorsement.
Yes.
Out of nowhere, some local leader just like walks on to some stage in an auditorium and endorses a candidate, and then this like changes everything from that very moment. Like that is just not
Where they thought that this person was going to endorse your opposition, and then they turn around and say, "Nope, I'm voting for Jefferson."
right. And then like the crowd goes crazy.
All right. So, what are some examples of the boring stuff versus the bold stuff that we see in
The boring reality.
the boring realities?
Okay. I'm gonna go back to The Wire because they get a lot of stuff right. There's a scene in The Wire where they show a pollster explaining that the candidate's name recognition is high, but his negatives are also high. Okay.
Right.
And it's really like a dry, data-driven conversation. And it actually captures the reality of a campaign doing the math.
All right. So, give me one that got it wrong.
Oh, so we're going to go with The Diplomat.
Okay.
And the reason why is much like The West Wing, The Diplomat does style over substance.
Right.
And you know what? That's their job. Their job is to be
It's entertaining. It's not a documentary. We're not faulting any of these shows for not being accurate.
Yeah, I'm not judging.
No.
I'm not saying don't watch these. I say many of them I enjoy. I think they're fantastic. I watch them over and over again.
But they're not necessarily reality.
But they're not reality. So we just want to make that clear. So The Diplomat. In The Diplomat, everything's fast paced. Everyone is hyper prepared.
Right.
And the back channel deals happen over like a single drink. This is not the way.
Sure.
This is not what happens. This concept that like people meet over a drink and everything's decided in one conversation at 11 o'clock at night in some ritzy hotel bar where everybody's dressed in, Chanel
Right.
is not the circumstances. It's emails and text messages and phone calls and popping in at the Cracker Barrel at the same time that you're going to be at the Cracker Barrel, and seeing them at the same Rotary meeting and going over across the room and setting up lunch. And it's not this like
Yeah. I don't think people realize how important Cracker Barrel is to the entire political process.
and the Dairy Queen.
And the Dairy Queen. All right.
All right.
And the last trope that we want to talk about is the viral sensation.
Oh yeah.
You get one viral video on the internet and suddenly everybody knows your business and it affects your poll numbers, and suddenly you're losing the election, or opponent, you find something on your opponent and it immediately affects the outcome of the race.
So yeah, like all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no. Let's start with just the idea that you're going to have one clever video and or you're going to make one that's like accidentally funny or something, or that just sort of and then by the next morning you're a household name and you're surging in polls and Good Morning America is covering it. Like that is lightning in a
That
bottle.
rarely happens.
That almost never happens. So don't put all your eggs in that basket, guys. Don't do that.
Right. And don't purposely try to create a viral video. That's just something that happens.
Yes. You can put effort into going viral into a video, but there's so many unknowns there's so many factors that you can't control that it's just not worth the effort in the off chance that like you might go viral. That's just a waste of energy.
Okay.
So you go viral in the sense that people in California may be watching your video, but if you're running for city council in your town of 50,000 people and none of those people in California can vote for you,
It doesn't really matter.
it doesn't really matter. Most local virility,
Virility?
the viralness,
The viralocity.
the viralocity. I like that. Most of the local viralocity happens within your own supporter base. You're not reaching the undecided. You're just entertaining the people
Right.
that are already supporting.
The undecideds aren't paying attention to it.
Yeah, and your chances of getting them to focus on something like that. I mean, you're going to have to put a lot of effort into it, and you're going to reach them easier by just going and knocking on their door.
But it's not going to just happen.
It's not just going to happen.
Okay.
So that's important to know. Then there's the authenticity thing.
Right.
If it feels super scripted, local voters are going to tell instantly. It's going to feel insincere, and they don't want content creators. They want a leader.
Sure.
So if you're creating content, especially if you're doing reels and TikTok and that sort of thing, you want to just be, you want to be entertaining, obviously. You want to make a point, but, be you. Give your stump speech. Do the same thing that you do.
Be engaging, but be
right.
sincere.
You stand out more with authenticity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you build trust.
Right.
All right. So for your enjoyment, I have put together B's list of political shows and put them in order of accuracy to reality.
From least accurate to most accurate.
From least accurate to most accurate of things that you will probably encounter that look realistic to political campaigns.
The reality of campaign politics and politics in general.
Right. So pulling up the rear.
Very popular show, but
with
totally unrealistic.
1 out of 10. 1 out of 10 ranking. House of Cards, man.
Yeah.
That is a farce. It portrays.
There are much fewer murders going on in politics than that show portrays.
It's just a series of murders, high-level, strategic moves. It's mostly emails and, office equipment that's way out of date in real life. It's people forgetting to file ethics disclosures, or it didn't go through, or addendums, or whatever. It's not murdery.
Right.
There's so much less murder than
lot
people
less,
want there to
a
be.
lot less intrigue.
So, and we don't, surprisingly, guys, we solve our problems with words. We do not solve our problems with murder. Okay? Let's take that with us today.
Thank you, Miss Frazzle.
That is our affirmation for the day. We solve our problems with words. We do not murder our opponents. Okay? So remember that when you're watching House of Cards. That's a fun adventure, but it's not real.
Okay.
All right. Same for this next one. God bless them. I watched it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great for what it was, not rooted in reality at all. But all the love, Kerry Washington, Shonda Rhimes. I love you both.
Scandal.
But Scandal. Guys, it's a 2 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay. This Fixer thing, this is a soap opera. And it's a delightful soap opera. It is escapism. In real life, if a fixer did half of what Olivia Pope does, though, in that show, I mean, I don't even know, if, federal prison. Now, you know what? I turn on the TV every day and I wonder. Maybe not right now.
I think that maybe it wasn't very accurate.
It wasn't at the time that it was on.
Right.
I can say that for certainty. So,
okay.
Right. Anyway, it's a Scandal. Enjoy it. Watch it. Love it. Don't think that there's any reality to it. So believe it or not, above Scandal is a CW show. Actually, there's multiple CW shows on here. Arrow.
Okay.
If you watched the show Arrow, this was in early or late aughts, early teens. No, most of the teens TV show. and it was all about the Green Arrow and Oliver Queen. If you're not a comic book fan or care about this, so Arrow, and it led to a broader set of television shows, superhero shows with the Flash and
The
Supergirl,
Arrowverse.
and they called it the Arrowverse. This one gets 3.5 out of 10.
So this this DC superhero show
Yes.
gets a higher accuracy rating for a political campaign than two shows that are about politics.
Right.
Okay.
That's important to note. So, like, here's what they get right, and I think it's important. So, like, they bring in Alex Davis. That's a consultant to help, because they're like, look, well, we don't know what's going on. We're going to get a professional consultant.
So Queen is running for mayor.
Yes, Oliver
In
Queen.
this show, Oliver Queen
Yeah,
is
and
running
at
for
one
mayor.
point, his mom.
And Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow.
Right. And his mom.
I don't think we're giving anything away with that.
No, I mean, that's the theme
That's
to
the
the show. And at one point, his mother runs for mayor, right? Or earlier in the show. So this is like repeating that theme. But okay, it does not accurately reflect the time management and the public scrutiny. And also, and we need to talk about this, you can't have your secret layer underneath your campaign office. You can't do that. It's too public. You can't. The elevator in the campaign headquarters goes down to his new secret layer. You can't put your secret layer in your campaign headquarters. So listen, if you're a superhero and you're running for office, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to work out for you putting your superhero layer.
I think it's the perfect cover for your secret layer.
No, there's just too many press. The press aren't going to be hanging out there, but for something like that, yeah, there's just too many unknowns. You can't have that floating around. You got to put it in.
Yeah, but you can't have your secret layer and your campaign office across town from each other.
Right.
It just
because
doesn't
you
work.
can't be doing two at the same time. What do I keep telling everybody? What do I keep telling
But if I'm in my campaign office and I need to run downstairs to take care of some superhero stuff.
Exactly. And don't run for office if you're allergic to running for office.
There you go.
Why? Because
maybe it's not the best time to run.
It's not the best time, and here's why. Like, that's a full-time job.
Yeah.
And being a vigilante, also a full-time job.
Yeah.
This is what I keep telling everybody. This takes a lot of time running for office. You can't be a superhero and run for office. You can't do it.
And Oliver Queen is an example of a candidate who is running because he has money.
Right. He has the money to be
He's
able
a
to do that.
formidable opponent because he has money.
Well, actually, no. At some point, he loses the money and then he gets it back. It's hard to keep track of where the money is and who has it. And anyway. All right. So moving on to the next CW show, it ranks slightly higher than Arrow, but barely, at a 3.9. Smallville, season 5.
Okay.
Smallville. Now we're going back into what? This is like 2006, I think. I think this
sounds right to me.
I think this storyline is older than our relationship. So it gets the kitchen table campaign staff sort of situation, right? The low budget candidate versus the wealthy incumbent. So it nails the kitchen table campaign staff sort of situation. Lois is running his campaign, although suddenly she's going to be a campaign expert. No, she's not putting together the things that she's putting together. There's a reason it's still at 3.9. But it's the family that's volunteering. It's the members of their town.
This is Clark running?
No, I'm sorry, it's Jonathan Kent.
Okay.
It's his dad. It's Clark's dad.
Clark's dad is running.
I don't think we're giving anything away by saying Clark Kent is Superman, and this is his adopted dad. His earth dad, Jonathan, is running for state senate, and who's running against him? But of course,
Lex Luthor,
a young Lex Luthor,
yeah,
who is running so that he can make his daddy proud, and also because he wants to get into politics. And a lot of this is so that they mirror that comic storyline that Lex Luthor runs for president and becomes president, and it's bad because we all know what happens when greedy billionaires are given the opportunity to take over as president of the United States and fail to adhere to any of the social norms of our country.
I think we are living in a comic book.
So Anyway, you've got this super villain and scandals. There's like a different scandal every week. And then they have like a rally and it's like 1,000 people and it's been like put together in less than a week. And there's like a balloon drop and it's on election night.
Right.
And like election night, there's a good chance you're going to be at home in your pajamas just waiting.
So it got the kitchen table, low budget, running against a wealthy opponent. They got that right.
Right.
But the gravity of the state Senate race was a little overdone.
Right.
Okay.
A little overdone. Yes.
Yes. On a supervillain level.
Okay. So next up, number 8. Coming in at number 8.
The West Wing.
Coming in at number 8, The West Wing. Like I said, first of all, I'm giving it a 4 out of 10.
Okay.
I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. I said before, definitely watch it and then watch it again and then watch it some more, right? And I mean like the whole show.
Yes.
It's perfection in what it is as an art piece.
But it is idealistic from a politics standpoint.
It is political science fiction. Everyone is super smart. Let me tell you, that is not the case. Every speech works. No, it doesn't. Every candidate reads the speech that they're given. No, they don't. Y'all, stop going rogue, okay? Stop going rogue with your prepared remarks.
I think we've seen the reaction when people go off prompter.
Yeah. So, like,
Not good usually.
right. I think the only thing that I've seen realistic is there's or one scene that I know is realistic that you see in that show is after a big donor dinner where the president speaks. He's going through with security, and of course they're walking very fast. You can't ever just stand and have a conversation in West Wing. They're walking very fast, and Toby is arguing with the president over the speech and whether the words outshined the performer or that sort of thing. And I have had that conversation slower and not running,
Right.
but a similar conversation. And why did you skip the 3rd page paragraph in that D section? And it's like, well, I didn't think it worked with it. And it's like, but I told you. And so that part is that would be a real moment in that show. But
So that gets it a 4?
they're few and far between, the reality checks. And because it's dealing with such a nuanced, like the presidency is completely different. That's a whole different ballgame. There's
Oh,
nothing
sure.
like, so,
Okay.
reality for the presidency, nah, not even that.
Okay.
From all of the books I've read from people who've had the job. All right. This is an old one from the 90s, but I really liked this show.
It's a classic already.
It is a classic, in my opinion. It doesn't get as much hype as it deserves. Spin City.
Oh yeah.
Spin City, if you don't remember it, if you aren't old enough to remember it, was a show with Michael J. Fox, who was who was playing the deputy mayor of New York City. So Barry Bostwick is the mayor,
Okay.
and it's a very funny show.
What
It's
does it get
still-
right?
The press room, where there's people in chairs in a little room, and you go out and you stand and you talk to them, and there's like, it's not a bunch of people. It's not like, it's like 12 people and some cameras, and if there's 12, you're already, and they're asking you questions, and they're trading barbs with you, and it's pretty informal, to be honest with you, on most occasions, and they're asking you questions, and that part.
Okay.
The problems aren't solved in 22 minutes, obviously, because
Right.
it's a sitcom, and the deputy mayor has like way too much time to just like stand around and make snide comments.
Sure.
But it's a sitcom.
So
So-
we'll give that one a 5 out of 10.
It gets a 5 out of 10 because it sort of gets the vibe right.
Okay.
And sort of, it has the feeling. Michael J. Fox is brilliant in that. He leaves the show, and Charlie Sheen takes over, and he was very funny as well.
Okay.
If you have access to Spin City, go watch Spin City. It's a good one.
Good show.
Let's see.
This is one of your favorites.
It is
recently.
so good. I made you watch it. I make everybody watch it if they get the chance because it's based on real people. It's based on Chuck Schumer and
We're talking about Alpha House.
oh yes, Alpha House.
Yeah.
So we're coming in Alpha House and we're ranking it I rank it 7 out of 10.
Okay.
Okay. Alpha House, I believe that was a Amazon Prime television show. It has 2 seasons, 3 seasons.
2 or 3, I don't remember.
It's written by the author, the Doonesbury.
Gary Trudeau.
Gary
who's
Trudeau.
Very well-known political cartoonist.
And-
Actually, not traditional political cartoons. He does 4-panel strips,
Yeah.
but a lot of times have to do with politics.
I used to read him.
Love Doonesbury.
Doonesbury. I mean, I remember in the 90s reading Doonesbury as like a teenager. And
Right.
laughing. But, he's the author of it. And it's based on a 60 Minutes segment that was done about 4 members of Congress who shared a townhouse together
In D.C.
in D.C. And because whether you realize this or not, the housing for members of Congress, not, you
You don't live at home.
don't
have
live
to,
at
You have to
home.
live in D.C. at least part of the time.
And real estate's kind of expensive
Right.
for reasons. And so you can't have a house there to live in and apartments. You want to be close to Congress and everything going on downtown. So a lot of times what happens is you have congressional members who bunk together because they're sleeping there.
Right.
It's sort of like going to college. They're sleeping there, they're going to work, they're going back, they're going to fundraisers or events or whatever, and then they're flying back home and
Yeah.
right.
Hence the
So-
name Alpha House.
Alpha House is the name of the show. Watch it. John Goodman stars as is sort of the big character that sort of kicks it off, and
Senator Biggs.
Senator Biggs, and yeah, it sort of the re-election anxiety that they go through, where that's constantly like what they're going back to. It's like, why, if I'm doing this, I got to go back to, I'm running for re-election and I can't do that because my constituents. I mean, that's real.
I think they show a lot of things. It's a lot of behind the scenes kind of stuff that we don't think about. Getting ready to go to a vote.
Yeah.
Getting together with other senators or other lawmakers.
And the relationships that people of different parties actually have
Right.
in real life with each other, that is very true to life.
Yeah, Wanda Sykes is
Hysterical. And she plays a Democrat woman who's living next to
these
4
4
Republicans.
Yeah.
And she comes over and checks on their plants when they go home to their districts. Like she's giving them marriage advice or dating advice and things like that.
And the fact that these guys are always concerned about re-election. They're
Like,
always concerned about their public
80%
image.
of the time it's about trying to just stay in office, right? And it is funny. And then you have little pop-ins from different members of, again, the West Wing. Different people who are known for playing in political shows pop in and make guest appearances on the show, but it is very funny. 7 out of 10.
And
for
mostly based in reality.
a lot of it based in reality. Tied with Alpha House, I'm going to say The Good Wife.
Also gets a 7 out of 10.
Also gets a 7 out of 10 because it gets the opposition research and the polling rate.
And The Good Wife takes place in the state's attorney's office. Is that right?
Well, it takes place.
I don't know the show.
So she's an attorney, and then her husband is running for office, and then there's like the premise is he's running for office and she's a lawyer, and he, I think, has an extramarital affair or something, and that comes out.
Okay.
Yes. Honestly, I think I probably would have put it a hair lower for the drama factor.
Sure.
But the polling discussion, I like it when they actually show the data gathering and what it actually entails.
Okay.
But again, I want to go back to there's never going to be that oh my gosh, like that like that key moment that pops up and changes everything.
Right.
It's not. It's hard work and everything moves and shifts and slow. All right. We're closing in on number 1. Coming in at number 4.
I know we've mentioned this one several times.
Oh, yeah. Coming in at number 4 with 8 out of 10. Parks and Recreation. For
Okay.
sure. For sure.
All right.
It gets local government essentially right. I promise you, there's a vibe that they get right that has to do with local government, which is just a lot of passionate people who aren't. They're kind of nerds, and they're not making a lot of money, and they probably got side hustle going just so that they can go on vacation next year, that sort of thing. They get that right, but in the election aspect of it, like I said earlier, they capture that idea of running against a juggernaut who doesn't necessarily deserve to be in office, who doesn't have the qualifications, but he does have the financial and power position that it doesn't matter or seems insurmountable.
Okay.
One thing that I will say, there's a scene where they're going around town in a tour bus, and there's like a tour bus involved. You're not going to have a tour bus for your
No.
unless you are an RV dealer and you're using that, or somebody has donated that. And my God, that would be amazing. Having a mobile headquarters, like, give me that. If you want to donate that to any campaign, I'm working on it. Let's roll. Actually, I would love a B political RV, rolling headquarters, how to run for office and get away with it, or RV, whatever.
Take the show on the road.
Take the show on the road. That sounds great to me.
All right.
Our RV dealers who want to run for office, we're talking to you. Just that donation.
Or if you just want to sponsor the show.
For just the price of a cup of coffee, you can help us get an RV to take this show on the road.
Very expensive cup of coffee.
For each day. If you're donating just the price of a cup of coffee each day to us, not like a Denny's cup of coffee, but a Starbucks cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So, you're not going to have a tour bus. All right. Number 3. Number 3 is going to be a bit of a surprise to you all. Coming in at number 3, it is the last CW show that's going to be mentioned.
The last superhero show.
It's a surprising number of superhero shows that I've included here.
They really are.
But they matter. So number 3, with 9 out of 10, Superman and Lois.
Yes.
Superman and Lois. So if you're not familiar with this show, this is the last show from the Arrowverse. There was like 15 of them. I don't even know. But this was about Superman and Lois moved back to Smallville and are raising their twin boys in Smallville. And Lana Lang in one of the seasons, I think season 2, is running for mayor. And they actually get it right. I know we've mentioned this in other episodes of podcasts. I don't know if we mentioned it in this episode, but they actually get it surprisingly right in what it looks like for local politics, because Lana's election looks very grounded. It looks like what most elections are going to look like. She's looking at stuff. Most of it's taking place over like the kitchen counter. She's talking to her family and papers are strewn about.
Right.
And what are the problems they're dealing with, right? They're trying to protect, they're looking at how it's affecting their teenage daughter. They're talking about how it's affecting their marriage and, reputations. And she's running against a good old boy sort of situation. And,
a lot of good examples of small town politics. The thing in that show I think that bothers me is, didn't they have a big election night party at the gym? Or was that in Smallville?
No, that was in Smallville.
Oh, okay.
They have that with the dropping balloons and all that. Yeah, no, that's Smallville.
That really bothered me.
No, in Superman and Lois, remember, that's where she's like meeting people in cafe or in the like town, like
in the coffee shop.
The coffee shop that has like 4 booths and 2 tables or whatever by the window.
That's where all the important town business is discussed.
Right.
It's their Cracker Barrel. And,
they're worried about, their daughter and how it's affecting her mental health. They've completely forgotten that other kid they've got.
Oh, yeah. They just dropped the other kid off somewhere and forgot where they put her.
They've got 2 kids, but the second one isn't really part of any storyline. So she's just always kind of like, there's some sort of disaster happening. And it's like, where's your other kid? Like, you're always worried about that one. And I know that she's like,
So it accurately depicts the distractions that a campaign can become.
and how you completely forget that you have
forget one of your sure. Sure.
So, but it does.
I give it
show.
8.5 just for that part.
And then the extra point, because why not?
Why not?
Now, the fact that the gymnasium is being used is like, it's a community center and it's also the school gymnasium. And it's, it is fairly accurate for what, remove the alien interdimensional crap happening in the background, or the fact that there's a multi-billionaire who might be affecting things that it can get to. Well, actually, maybe you do have a multi-billionaire that's trying to come into your town and buy up mineral rights so that they can fight a superhero with the minerals. I don't know your business or town, but I do know is that for the most part, that's not common. And if that's happening in your town, well, you reach out to us. We'd like to talk.
So at least one season of Superman and Lois accurately depicted.
Yeah, they did it.
Something.
They did a good job.
The rest of it is fantasy.
But that is
that
what
season was good.
a local election looked like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 2.
Okay, number 2 with 9.5 out of 10.
9.5.
I'm giving it to The Wire, season 3 and 4.
Yes.
It's kind of our gold standard here.
Tommy Carcetti.
It shows Tommy Carcetti.
He's running for Baltimore mayor.
They're talking about stats. They're talking about favorabilities. They're talking about precincts. He's doing door to door. He's walking in the rain. It shows all of that, the interest groups that you have to deal with, and, the actual math that goes into winning an election.
Right.
And of course, like I've said before in this episode, they have an advantage because they're basing this on a very real person, very real election. The writer for The Wire had a lot to draw on, and he was making commentary specifically about Martin O'Malley. I think that he was too hard on Marty, but whatever. But the idea that you finally get in there, right? And you've got this enthusiasm for the job, and then you're like, this is why nothing moves forward. That soul crushing realization that everything that you're saying absolutely could be true, and it just won't be because of all of these little things that are just,
all the hoops you have to jump through to get anything done.
all the people you have to please, and all the people you have to get to agree to one aspect. It's just, it can be, like I said, soul crushing.
And the number 1 most realistic show about politics and campaigning is?
It's Veep.
It is Veep.
It is Veep.
Definitely.
I'm not even going to pretend to have ever worked at this level of government. I've not worked for the Vice President of the United States.
Assuming that the Vice President's office is similar to
My
other
experiences, right. My experiences with staffers and being, I'm from DC, and dealing with people who work in politics, and for the most part, it's fairly accurate. Like the people, the high strung, the profanity. Y'all need to give it to Scott McGuffin right here, because he spends a lot of time editing out the words because he's trying to keep it clean.
I'm going to stop doing that.
It's really hard.
I'm going to give the people what they want.
It's really difficult. I think we get
the
an
real language of
explicit.
politics.
Don't we get an E next to us if we do that?
I think we do.
Yeah, we don't want an E. We want
Right.
We want E for everyone.
A lot of swearing in politics behind the scenes.
And you don't even think about it. It's just all the time.
Right. People tend to be very passionate and expressive when they're talking about these things, and sometimes they're interlaced with profanities.
You're tired and you're underpaid.
Right.
And especially because you're doing it the right way, you're underpaid. So you're not making much money.
Right.
You just slept 3 hours because you were putting together a presentation for a congressional hearing that's going on the next day. And of course, the hearing's at 8 a.m., which means you got to be at work at 6 a.m. so that you can go over the final presentation with the with the changes, and then there's going to be a debate over one word, and you're going, oh my God, it is 7 a.m. We have got to get over to the Capitol. And you guys want me to go in and change this one word because of a comma. And like, it's that sort of stuff. And it's just the incompetence that the show. I'm not giving a sense of like security to anybody listening to this show.
No, and current administration aside, this has been true for a long time. This is not a commentary on the current
The
state of things.
the overwhelming majority of things that go wrong are because of human error.
Right.
It's because of people have you meet a lot of people with tunnel vision, and it's because, or you think of them as having tunnel vision, and they're focused on one thing and they don't care about anything else. But it's because just doing one thing when you're working in government has so many facets to it, so many people, that it seems like a person is tunnel vision, but they're not really. They're just,
Right.
they just don't have you don't get the luxury of being able to operate on that level with that many things. So
Right.
Veep,
Veep.
it is what it looks like. It is yelling it's people yelling at each other and obscenities and inappropriate comments and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
It is a loud culture.
I want to give an honorable mention to The Office.
An honorable mention to The Office.
There was a season where Angela's boyfriend was a senator,
Yes.
and she thought that was just so fantastic, and was very very anxious to make sure that everyone knew that she was dating a senator, and nobody gave a shit. Nobody was impressed
Because he is a state
with the
senator.
state senator that she's dating.
Because it was just state senator.
So the self-importance that comes with that office is really unjustified.
Don't take yourself too serious.
Sure.
I mean, it's important, but it's not like people aren't going to stop
People
everything.
aren't bowing down to you as you walk into a room.
Oh, no. It's a state senator. It's not happening.
Right.
Nobody cares.
Now, maybe if you were the emperor of California.
Maybe if you were the emperor of these United States
That's
and
right.
guardian of Mexico.
Right.
Right. Speaking of, are we going to get to history?
So let's talk some history.
Yeah. So we're talking today about something that is so outrageous that it actually sounds like a movie.
Right.
So, and in my opinion, ought to be the sequel
I think it'd be a great movie.
to Death by Lightning, or
Right.
or a limited series or whatever. It would make a great sequel to Death by Lightning. So this
Death,
is
Death by Lightning recently came out about James Garfield and
Chester Arthur.
Chester Arthur.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about, this story is 1888.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about in the 1880s is Gilded Age, capitalism, robber baron era, all of that. And in this particular election, it's Benjamin Harrison is running for president, and he's running against Grover Cleveland. Now, if you know anything about this particular era in history, and the reason why I think it ought to be the sequel to Death by Lightning is because it's a series of events that happen not much longer after, but it deals with some of the same problems that were already present, which was a pay-to-play system that had really taken over in DC at the time, where, everything was done through political favors. Everything was done through a system of nepotism and
Some good old boy politics.
it's that idea that, you do this, I scratch your back, you scratch yours. And it was very open and blatant and corrupt. There was a lot of corruption that was taking place. So Benjamin Harrison becomes the Republican nominee. And the problem with that is Benjamin Harrison is about as friendly as a wet washcloth that has been left soaking wet at the bottom of the tub. Like, he is not somebody he's not a pleasant person.
Okay.
So, I mean, and his grandfather was president for, and I'm being specific here, 31 days,
Right.
12 hours, and 30 minutes.
William Henry Harrison.
William Henry Harrison. So that's his grandfather, right? So he's coming from too stupid to put a coat on when it rains stock, right? And he's got the personality to match. No offense to the Harrisons.
Well, we don't know them. They're
I
not
don't know
always
those
assholes.
people. Yeah.
Who knows?
So I don't know you. No, but he's just not a friendly, like he's just not a personable guy.
Okay.
He's just not this candidate string. So what they did is they were going to run a front porch candidacy similar to what Garfield did when Garfield didn't really want to be president. He didn't even want necessarily the nomination for the Republican Party. Benjamin Harrison was being kept at home so that he couldn't say or do anything unfriendly or stupid.
Okay.
And at the same time, they were running a whole corruption system that was down in his basement that had been set up. So they're running like a whole like HBO TV historical setting drama down in the basement, like the real pay to play crap that's going on in politics. And in the meantime,
Happening in the basement of the house.
happening in the basement. In the meantime, there is now a pilgrimage that's taking place to Indianapolis where Benjamin Harrison lives, to his home. And so much like we were talking about Gracie Allen in our last episode,
Right.
if you haven't if you haven't heard the last episode, go back, listen to that. Gracie Allen runs for president. But in this, he had a standard speech. He'd go out on his front porch at showtimes.
This is called the Front Porch Campaign.
Right. He'd go out to his porch on showtimes and he'd give his prepared remarks. And like the thousands of people who had gathered outside of his house would cheer and everything because they saw the show. And then they would have like scheduled times for people to come in and meet with Benjamin Harrison and all of that.
It sounds like a very effective campaign method.
Well,
The people come to you.
right. Instead of you traveling.
You do your thing.
And the Republican Party actually set up like train ticket packages and
Right.
things to come, and they were shipping people into Indianapolis.
Nothing bad could happen when you have thousands of people pilgrimaging to your home.
Right. And
Nothing bad could happen.
nothing bad, because here's what they were able to do. They didn't have to worry about the physical exhaustion of traveling, the
Right.
verbal slips. They're avoiding gaffes. They've got a perfectly curated press. The journalists are stationed in Indianapolis at this point, and his speeches are transcribed and they're telegraphed across the country immediately. Right?
Right.
That's the height of, they didn't have CNN or radio or anything like that. Telegraph. That's being sent to the papers. And because he knew exactly who was coming to his house based on when they were shipping people in, whether it was railroad workers for this hour or farmers for the next, he could customize his speech specifically for the people who were coming to that quote unquote porch show.
Right. Like you would do if you were going out to events.
Right. And at the time, there was what's the word it was seemed unseemly to be out politicking to get votes. It was seen as begging at the time, sort of the way people see going for contributions now, the way, they felt the same way about just asking for votes. So it was a good juxtaposition to Grover Cleveland, who was stuck at the White House. And so he was having to go around and ask for, but nothing bad could go wrong except for thousands of people pouring into their city.
Right. Getting excited about a speech that you just heard.
And then wanting a souvenir to take home.
Right.
And so what did these people do?
Absolutely ransacked.
They pulled like his house apart. Like they were taking
Anything they could grab.
They took his fence apart. They took like pieces of his house.
I think they took his dog.
Did they take his dog? They didn't take his dog.
I don't know.
They didn't take his dog.
Yeah.
They would have cut the dog's hair and kept the hair. Like people were stripping his house down to like whatever, just so that they could take a piece of it home as a souvenir.
Right.
And they were causing all these problems because the city wasn't prepared for this massive influx of all of these people that were coming all of a sudden. And what happens just imagine a convention Imagine when the president comes to town or a presidential candidate comes to town for a political rally,
Right.
the security and everything else. Now, we're not running security back then like we do now, but
Well, they did have the Secret Service. So
They-
they were
they were fairly new. They were still the Treasury.
yeah.
Right. So,
So there was still some security, but it was at his house. It wasn't at a particularly secure location.
right. So, I mean, yeah, they should have been doing more of that. I mean, Grover Cleveland.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
a little bit more secure than it had been, but it's still not great. But yeah, they just dismantled his entire house and just took it with them. Thousands of people. And interestingly enough, he won,
Yeah.
but he lost the popular vote.
He didn't have any good stuff at his house for people to take.
It was who?
Harrison.
Apparently, they took his fifth. He didn't have
but
anything left.
He didn't get enough votes from it.
He didn't get enough votes from it, but he
But
did
he
get
still
it.
won.
But he still won.
Thank you, Electoral College.
So, yeah, and what's funny to me, on top of that, is that his grandfather was determined to show his vigor to continue to stand up and talk for the intensity of how long his speech was. I think it was 8,500 words or something like that, and kill himself over it. And then his grandson's like, maybe I just don't leave my front porch. Like, maybe I don't stand and do 8,500 words. Maybe I just go out and talk for 3 minutes and then go back home. Like,
So he completely abandoned the whole campaign philosophy.
he went the absolute other direction. They estimate that he gave around 80 speeches. He gave an estimated 80 speeches to an estimated 300,000 people
Wow. That's impressive, especially for that time.
without ever leaving his property. Staying right on his front porch.
Right.
But it's such a weird, outlandish campaign. They were running all of this mafia, like, political machine crap down in the basement.
It probably didn't even matter how he campaigned. There was so much backroom stuff going on. That,
There was aspects of that. They got the best outcome that they could with the personality that they were working with.
And it
what I'm
worked.
to understand from history.
and it worked. All right. Well, we have covered a lot of ground today.
Have we?
I think we have.
A lot of TV.
I think everybody has assignments now to go watch some of these great shows,
Yeah, for sure.
enjoy a little off time, and learn from them.
I think,
Learn what not to do.
and I think that the reason why you see so much politics in, like, comic book based shows is because there's a lot of politics in comic books in the source material.
Right.
Because most comic books that you follow today, that the famous ones, there's actually underlying social commentary that was taking place in them.
And there's always villains who are trying to get into power.
Right. Because it's all about power struggles.
Sure.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's hope your campaign does not look like a comic book.
But if it does, remember, you can't put your secret layer under your campaign headquarters.
That's right.
It's a distraction.
If you learn nothing else from this podcast, don't put your secret layer under your campaign headquarters.
It's a distraction.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, until next time, I'm going to be Scott.
I'm V. Let's get ready to run.